Hey Kira, good morning. Happy Friday.
Morning.
How are you doing today? I don't think I saw you on Tuesday. Did you have a good break?
Can you repeat?
Oh, I'm saying I was just saying I don't know I don't think I saw you on Tuesday this week. So I was just asking if you had a good break and everything like that.
Yeah, it was fine.
That's good. Hopefully we're able to relax and recharge. So I'm just sending out a few more.
It was much needed.
Yes, I know. Same for me as well. Much needed is right. All right. So I'm just sending out a few more reminders here to see if we get anybody else logged on. But if it remains just you and me, we are working on Summit today. So if you go to your Summit and you see, maybe it will not, you and me. Good morning, my friends. Kalia Amir, welcome, welcome. Let me get my attendance together here. Good to see everybody here today. Okay. Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing well. If I didn't see you on Tuesday, then welcome back. I hope you had a good break. All right. We'll give it maybe Shirley. Good morning to you. All right. Excellent. We got a few people trickling in here. All right, y'all. So we'll give it maybe 4 or so more minutes here and see if we get anyone else logged on. Good morning. Good morning. While we're waiting for some more people to log on, here is a glimpse at our agenda for today. So pretty easy, pretty low key Friday. Do a little bit of review from Tuesday, and then we'll go over the activity that we are going to be working on Summit, and then just a reminder of what should be done for progress reports coming out next week. All right. So we'll give it 3 more minutes. Get yourselves together if you need. Welcome again. Good morning. All right, about 2 more minutes here. Let's see who else we got. Oh, Zaire has joined us. Good morning, my friend. Let me get my attendance up to date. Does anyone have any exciting weekend plans coming up now that um, some stuff is slowly opening back up in Philly? I think museums are back, gyms are back. I don't know. I think indoor dining comes back next week. I can't remember off the top of my head, but hopefully some more opportunities for people to get out of the house safely. All right, welcome, welcome. We'll give it about another minute here and then we'll dive in. Who else has just joined us? Hey, Gia, good to see you again. The triumphant return since I haven't seen you in a bit. Hope you had a good break. Welcome back. All right, ladies and gents, let's go ahead and get started this morning. Welcome again. If you weren't here Tuesday, we're going to start with a little bit of review for those of us who were, which I think is at least one or two of us in here. Okay. So here's our thought for the day to get us started. All right. Which of these best defines a vignette? Okay. Which is something we talked about last class on Tuesday. Is it A, a small vine? Is it B, a form of poetry? Is it C, a short descriptive narrative moment that helps tell a story like a flashback? Or is it D, none of those? All right, think about this for a second. Respond in the chat. If you were not here on Tuesday, then take your best guess. Okay. All right, so let's take 2-3 minutes here and see if we can get some responses in the chat for this. Again, if you were here Tuesday, this should sound familiar to you. If you were not here Tuesday, you can take your best guess on what you think a vignette might be. Maybe you've heard of it before in another class or in another school. You can just put the letter. You don't have to type the whole answer if you don't want to. And go ahead and put that in the chat for me, all right? Which of these best defines a vignette? Is it a small vine? Is it a form of poetry? Is it a short descriptive narrative moment that helps tell a story like a flashback? Or is it none of those? Think about it. Put in the chat for me, please. All right, let's check the chat, see if we got any responses coming in. It still remains empty, so we'll give people a few more minutes here, but to be able to get at least 2 responses at least, that's what I'd like to see in here. And I know we're probably capable of even more because I have some very insightful thinkers in here today. So again, if you weren't here and you're not sure, take your best guess, okay? But I'd like to see at least something in the chat, all right? From everyone, right? Which of these best defines a vignette? If you were here Tuesday, this should still hopefully be in your brain. So think about it. Tell me, you can respond with just the appropriate letter, right? And again, if you weren't here, take your best guess. But tell me what you think here, okay? Hey, Keon, good morning, my friend. Welcome to you. All right, we are still working on, sorry, y'all. Still working on our do now here. Looking for some responses in the chat. Still don't see any. So if you are out there, let's take maybe another minute, maybe 2. I'd like to see at least 2 responses, all right, from 2 different people in the chat for this. And again, all you're doing is putting the letter in there. So should be an easy one. So you're telling me which of these best defines a vignette, which is what we talked about last class. Would it be A, a small vine, B, a form of poetry, C, a short descriptive narrative moment that helps tell a story like a flashback? Or is it D, none of the above? What do you think? If you weren't here, think about it and take your best guess. Okay, maybe you've heard of it before. right? Or something like that. But tell me in the chat. Let's take maybe another minute or two. Again, I didn't see anything in there yet. Last time I checked, I'd like to see at least two answers from from those of us who are here. Hopefully more. If we have some eager participants this morning. But remember, part of that part of your grade is participation, my friends. So don't be afraid to contribute here. All right, looks like we got some rolling in now, which makes me very happy. Thank you. All right, I have one from Keon who says C, and you did message me in the right place, Keon. Thank you. So let's see if we can get at least one more in there. So does anybody else out there have a thought? All right, Gia, Kira, Amir, Zaire, what do we think? A, B, C, or D? Which of these best defines a vignette? And again, if you weren't here Tuesday, that's fine. But, take a guess. Take your best guess. All right, think about it. Think what this might mean. Think about what we have been talking about so far with the story that we're reading and all that other stuff. All right, let's take maybe one more minute. All right, looks like we got one more at least in the chat. Thank you from Amir. Amir also says C, so we agree with Keon. All right, give everybody maybe 30 more seconds. See if we can get maybe one more in there. Any other final guesses? Do we agree with Kieran, Amir? Do we think it might be another one? Or Keon and Amir, I'm sorry. All right, any last minute responses? All right, looks like we got one more. Keon answered again. He also says C. Well, both of you are correct. All right, it is indeed C, a short descriptive narrative moment that helps tell a story like a flashback. Okay, so if you were not here on, hey, Ike, good morning. If you were not here on Tuesday, that is what we um, talked about. I'm just trying to get my attendance up to date here. Cool. I think I got everybody. That's what we talked about on Tuesday was vignettes, and we looked at some examples of some different movies, like the beginning of Up, where they have all those little scenes and memories of Carl and Ellie at the beginning, like they're at the zoo, they're under the tree, they're getting married, they're um, putting money away in the jar. So all of those things work together to help us get some more background on the story on why Carl is the way he is when the movie starts. This grumpy old man, and the key thing is that what a vignette is it's just a specific moment, a specific descriptive moment. In other words, it's not a whole story. If we just took each of those little moments by themselves, we wouldn't have enough for a whole story. If it was just like Carl and Ellie at the zoo and then it stopped, well, what happened? Why are they there? What happens afterwards? We don't know. Okay. But if you put them all together, and we have the whole movie, then we get some more background. That's what a vignette is. It's one little descriptive narrative moment that helps tell a bigger picture. So it could be a flashback, it could be a memory, it could be a description of what a room looks like, or something like that. That helps work together to make a bigger picture. We could see it in a bunch of other movies too. Like I was just watching a movie last night called Catch Me If You Can, where there was flashbacks involved. It started, towards the end of the character's story where he's like in jail, and then it flashes back to him as a kid and kind of tells how he got there. So vignettes are a really interesting way to tell a story in a non-linear fashion. What I mean by non-linear, um, well, what do you guys think? What do you think I mean by non-linear? Anybody heard that term before? You can tell me in the chat or come off mute as to what I mean if a story is non-linear. Linear meaning like in a straight line. Any thoughts or guesses as to what that might mean? Another way to ask it would be if a story is non-linear, do you think that it starts from the very beginning and ends at the end, or do you think it might jump around to different times? What do we think? Any responses in the chat, or you can come off mute, answer over your mic if that works better. I'll put that question in the chat too. All right, what do we think? Does a nonlinear story start at the very beginning and go all the way to the very end in order, or does it jump around from different points? And again, if you've never heard that term before, remember linear means like a straight line. So if a story is non-linear, what do we think? Does it go all in order, or would it maybe jump around? Anybody with a thought that can respond either in the chat or on their mic? Kiangia, Shirley, Amir, anybody who is out there with us today? What do we think? Any thoughts on this? If linear talks about something in a straight line, right? So we have like point A to point B, right? Does a non-linear story, we think, follow that straight line and go in order, or do we think it jumps around and maybe starts at the end and then goes back to the beginning, and now we're in the middle, and then we go back to the beginning again? Yeah, Amir says jump, and he is correct. And some of the ways, the biggest way to do that, to tell a nonlinear story, is with things like these vignettes, with like little flashbacks, little moments that don't stand alone themselves as a whole story, but when we put them all together, they make up one big one. Okay. And that is what, good job, Amir. That's what we are going to do for our final product here that we're going to start kind of working towards this week. If your final product, you're going to write me a short narrative, a short story about you. It doesn't have to be 100% true. You can make some stuff up, but it should be told kind of in that way, with like, your past, your present, and your future, and jump around maybe with some flashbacks, flash forwards, things like that. So to get us started with that today, we're going to do some brainstorming on Summit. So if you are registered on Summit and you have our class, Creative Writing, and you see our project Homegoing, you should all see checkpoint 2, narrative outline. It says 3 on mine, but on yours it'll say checkpoint 2. Okay. And I think all of you in here are Summit pros by this point, so you should be good to go. So if you click on checkpoint 2, narrative outline, and you scroll down, you should see the first activity right here under resources. It says brainstorming prompts, and it looks like this. Okay. And I'll put that in the chat as well. But that's where we are going to work from today. So if you can go ahead and get that pulled up for me and give me a thumbs up in the chat when you have it pulled up. And as you guys are pulling that up, I'll kind of explain how you're going to work through this, and I'll put it in the chat as well. So again, one more time real quick, if you're on Summit and you pull our class up, all right, you want to go to checkpoint 2 right here, narrative outline. I know it says 3, but on yours it'll say 2, because we're probably going to skip this one, right? And then if you scroll down in the checkpoint, you'll see the first link here under resources is brainstorming prompts. Excuse me. And then it should look like this, okay? So go ahead, pull that up. Again, when you have it, give me a thumbs up or tell me that you got it in the chat so I know you're there. I'll give everybody about another minute and then I'll start going over this. While some people might still be pulling it up just so everybody can be on the same page, okay? But let me know if you are having trouble finding this or anything like that, okay? Everybody's good? Everybody's got it? Yes, no, maybe? All right, so as we're pulling this up, ladies and gentlemen, I'll start going through this so you guys kind of know what's up. So if you're still pulling this up, just make sure you're listening, follow along. I'm also sharing my screen too, so if you want to take a screen grab quick, if you're going to come back to this a little later today, feel free. All right, so it should say homegoing narrative brainstorming at the top. All right, and our directions, you can see, say, come up with some ideas on what to write about for your own narrative. That's going to be our final product. The only wrong answer is a blank page. Also, you do not need to write or think about these in order. Go in whatever order works for you, which means you can see there's 3 kind of sections here: past, present, future. So if you want to start with the one for the present, because that's what's happening now and it's freshest in your mind, you can start there and then backtrack, go to the past or go to the future and then work backwards, whatever you want to do. Also, feel free to leave boxes blank if nothing comes up for you. Okay, so if there's one box where you can't really answer because you don't know or you don't have any thing like that, you can leave that one blank. But every one you can fill out should be filled out. All right. And so again, essentially what you're doing with this is you're just responding to these prompts in these boxes over here. And the goal is to build enough information on this brainstormer that when we start our outline, which is the checkpoint, to help plan the story for our final product, you have enough, background info about your past, your present, your future, that you can craft an interesting story that kind of tells, a story about all 3, much like the book that we have worked with, Homegoing, does. We get Effie's perspective in the first chapter, and then it's the same story being told, but in the other chapters that we're going to look at maybe next week, it's coming from a different person's perspective, but it's still telling the same story. All right? So it kind of jumps back and forth like that. Right? So if you're filling this out, all right, you can do it in complete sentences. All right, you can do it in bullet points. I like to do bullet points personally. So if I was filling this out for myself, just to show you guys as an example, right, the first box says, where do you come from? This can be country, city, religion, nationality, whatever this question means to you, jot down notes and ideas. So if I was filling this out, maybe I would say, I would list my ethnic heritage first. So I could say Italian, Irish, Pennsylvania Dutch, right? And then maybe I would list geographically where I come from. So I could say Pennsylvania. And then maybe my hometowns, Coopersburg, Bethlehem. Maybe I could say Philly, but I could also maybe wait and maybe use that in the present ones, depending on what the questions are. And then if not, I can go back and put it in up here. Okay. And then what else? Okay, the region that I come from in PA, I could put Lehigh Valley, right? I could put uh, maybe spiritual, agnostic, as my religion, right? And then maybe anything else I wanted to put in here. And then I would have the first box done. So then I move on to the next one and see what that one asks. Who are your relatives from the past? So this is essentially asking, like, what's your ancestry? So if you did the family tree activity, that's where this would come in handy. So I could say, parents. Then maybe I list their names, Yvonne and Tom, right? And then I could say grandparents. Then maybe I start to list their names, Margaret, Harry, et cetera, et cetera. And then I keep going. And then anybody else I can think of. Then I continue to fill that out for the rest of all these boxes. And again, if you want to answer in complete sentences, if that works better for you, that's fine too. But the thing to keep in mind is the more you fill out on this, the easier doing your outline, doing the checkpoint is going to be. And the better your outline is, the easier writing your story will be. Those of you who have me before know I always say the same thing. If you have a good outline, if you have good kind of pre-writing stuff, your story or your essay, whatever it is, it pretty much writes itself. Okay? So that's what you're going to be doing to work through this activity. All right? Questions with anything so far? Right. And Keon, I saw your message in the chat. That is fine. That's why I wanted to go over this now. And then, if you guys are away from your laptop currently, you can take notes, screenshots, whatever you need, and then go back to it later. I will also be available in the Summit Lab from 1 to 3 later today, if you want to come in there and get some help that way too. Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Okay. All right, so ladies and gents, we got about 25 minutes left. All right, I want to give you the bulk of that time to get started on this. I would like to see this completed by the beginning of class on Tuesday, meaning that, it's done and ready to go. So you have the whole weekend to work on this. Okay. As far as the checkpoint is concerned, or excuse me, as far as the progress report is concerned, because I just introduced this today, so I'm not going to hold you responsible for it on the progress report. But I would like to see that you have the first section of checkpoint 1 done, which is the reading notes for Effie's chapter in the story that we've read. Okay. And I will put the link to the PDF version of the book in the chat real quick so that you have that to use if you're still kind of getting caught up on checkpoint 1. Right. You can also check out the class recordings on YouTube. I would maybe start with the ones before break, like maybe December 17th, 18th, around there. That would help you kind of get caught up with the book and everything that's been going on there. All right. Yes, Relisha, I do have lab today. I didn't see you join us, so thank you for logging on. All right. But really good attendance today, guys. Good job. Thank you for logging on. All right. So what are we working on today? First priority should be that brainstorming prompts activity on Summit. Should be the first resource if you scroll down under checkpoint 2. And then keeping in mind over the weekend, by Monday, you should have the first section of checkpoint 1 done, because that's what I'm going to be putting in grades. All right. They are technically due at the end of the day today because my grades are due on Monday. But if I have it from you like by 8 a.m. on Monday morning, all right, then that will still be okay. All right. Because I know everybody is still kind of coming back from break and all that stuff. But if I don't see it, like, when I wake up at 8 o'clock on Monday, then it's not going to count for the progress report. Okay. So keep all that in mind. I will be in the Summit Lab later today if you want to stop by. Remember, it is just the same link for this class. Okay. But again, right now you should be focusing on this activity right here, brainstorming prompts activity on Summit under checkpoint 2, and just filling out the prompts in these boxes. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I will check back in about 15, 17 minutes or so, see where everybody's at, and then we'll kind of wrap up from there. All right. Let me know if you have questions, either in the chat or over your mic, and you guys should be good to go. All right. Good job today. Thank you, guys. Amir, if you want to, oh, wait, hang on. I'm just reading everything in the chat here. All right, yeah. If you want to, I don't want you to dip totally. If you want to work offline on this for a little bit and then jump back on at, let's say, 11:23, just so I can wrap up with everybody, that's fine. If you don't trust yourself to log back on, then I would say just stay in the chat, work on this here, and then we'll kind of wrap up there. Right. All right, sounds good. Hey, Manuel, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We are, let me just make sure I get my attendance. We are working on the brainstorming prompts activity. under checkpoint 2 on Summit. So it says 3 on mine, but on yours will say checkpoint 2, narrative outline. Then if you scroll down, you'll see this first link right here. It says brainstorming prompts activity. Okay. And it should look like this, right? And you're just basically kind of filling out these boxes with the answers to these prompts. And this is going to help you, uh, you know, compile some background info for what you're going to use to do the final product, which is writing, your own story. So you can see how I kind of started to fill out mine with bullet points, answering the questions. So you're kind of going to do the same thing. All right. So this should be done by the time we start class on Tuesday. So you have the weekend and Monday to get this covered. And then I was reminding everybody else that, remember, progress reports are coming out next week. So I should have everything else, family tree, Nearpod, that first section, checkpoint 1. I should see all that submitted to me by like first thing Monday morning. So when I wake up at 8 a.m. and I check my Summit, if I don't see all your stuff in there, then it'll be either red or yellow if it's not finished or stuff like that. And that's what'll go on the progress report. Okay. And then if you missed us on Tuesday, you can watch the beginning of this class where we did some review. That'll be up on YouTube later today, and I'll also be in the Summit Lab between 1 and 3. Okay. So if you can pull that up on Summit, again, it's under checkpoint 2 and it should be the first link. If you scroll down and look at the resources, it says brainstorming prompts activity. I'll put that in the chat again for everyone. That's where we're working from today. So we'll keep it up. We'll give it about maybe another 10, 12 minutes or so, and then I will check back in and wrap everything up. All right. But thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thank you for logging on. I appreciate the attendance. It looks good. All right. So I'm going to start jumping around to some different people's summits and start checking out your progress on this. I hope to see you at least starting to get some of those boxes filled out before we go. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll give it about maybe 5 more minutes or so, and then we'll kind of come back, wrap up. So I'm gonna start checking, see how our progress is on this. So if you have questions, let me know. All right, y'all. Those of us who are still with us, we got about 5 minutes left. As I was going through people's summits, I didn't see a lot of these that had been started yet. Now, some of us might not be at our laptops this morning. That's okay. But again, just a reminder that this should be done by beginning of next class, right? So when I check Tuesday morning, I should see these done. And if they're not done, then I'll be starting to mark some stuff red. And then for progress reports, I should see the first section of checkpoint one, those reading notes for EFIA. Those should be done as well, the first three boxes, okay? And then you should already have done the Nearpod questions and the family tree. Okay, I'll put all this on a summit announcement later today so that you have it to remind you over the weekend when you look. Okay. Before we go, are there questions with anything else that should be done or that you guys are working on? All right, then what I'd like you to do, if you can, is please give me a before you go, give me a 1 to 5 in the chat of where you are in terms of understanding everything that you need to have done, get done. So 5 would be, I know, I'm good. I know everything I need to get done. I'm going to start, I'm going to make sure everything's finished over the weekend. I have no questions. I'm good to go. 3 would be like somewhere kind of in the middle. Like, I'm pretty sure I know what's up. I just need to get some stuff done. Maybe I have a question or two. And then 1 would be like, I'm pretty lost. I need to get caught up. I need some help. Right? Maybe I need to come to the lab, whatever it might be. So please put that in the chat for me before you go. Shirley, I got yours. Thank you. Right, I'd like to see one from everybody if I can. All right. So Shirley has left because she's given me hers in the chat. Thank you. If I can see one from everybody else, that would be great. As soon as I get yours in the chat, then you were good to go as well. Okay, again, 1 to 5. How are you feeling with everything that is going to be due for this class for progress reports? So this brainstorming activity that we're doing today, everything else that you should have done. Let me know in the chat. Give me a 1 to 5. Once I see your response in the chat, then you are good to go. Okay. All right, Emmanuel, I got you a 5. He exudes confidence. I love it. Thank you very much. All right, so you're good to go. Again, once you put that in, you guys are good. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Um, Stay vigilant, with everything that is going on, right now, and, stay hopeful. And know that myself and all the other teachers, staff at Yes Failing, we are doing our best to make sure we can, get to some brighter days ahead here for all of you guys. So still only got 2 1 to 5s. Looking for some for everybody else. Once I get yours, you are good to go. I'm going to keep the chat open for about another 2-3 minutes. If I don't hear from you by then, I'm going to assume you're good to go, and I'm just going to go ahead and end our chat for today. But if you can put that in the chat for me, please, before you go, that would be great, so I can know kind of where everybody's at. All right, thank you guys. Hey Meadow, glad you were able to log on at least for a sec here. Okay. Um, we're just about ready to wrap up, but I will put in the chat so you can take a screenshot or copy paste the activity that we did today on Summit. So you can look that up, and then you can watch the class recording. It'll be up on YouTube later today. And then if you still have questions, you can come see me in the Summit Lab. All right. Remember, it's the same link as class. All right. The rest of us, those who are still here, I haven't heard from you, so I'm going to assume you guys are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and end the chat. Thank you guys again. Have a good weekend. And I will see you all on Tuesday. Remember, need everything for the progress report by Monday morning. So 8 a.m. Monday morning, I should see everything turned in. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend.